Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can. And this time I'll be playing Alan Wake's American Nightmare Blind. Now, I recently played and finished the base game of Alan Wake. There's a link to the playlist in the description in case you're interested. But long story short, I was not particularly impressed with it. And as a result, I doubt I'm going to be impressed by this unless it innovates quite, quite heavily in the gameplay department, or is in any other way particularly more creative than the base game. But I bought it as a part of a bundle, and as such, I intend to finish it just to, not waste my money and maybe to see if it does anything interesting with the concept. I know actually nothing about it. I'm pretty sure it's not a direct sequel, it's more of a spin-off, but I'm not sure. It's going to be a blind playthrough, so let's just start and, I guess, find out. Apparently this may, judging from this sign, it may take place in Night Springs, which is actually a fictional town as far as I know in the story of the game. Like, Night Springs is actually a TV series in the main game, but I guess there's no point in guessing. Let's just start a new story. Okay, I'm going to play on normal, just because I'm not particularly good at the game, and I didn't really enjoy the gameplay loop that much, so dying over and over is unlikely to improve that.
Blurred, and nowhere as vividly as in Night Springs. The man before you is a champion of light. He is part of a conflict between darkness and light that is both ancient and eternal. He is chasing a dangerous quarry, the Herald of Darkness. His evil doppelganger, known only as Mr. Scratch.
I'll catch you eventually!
Maybe. But what are you gonna do then? By then, I'll have had my hands on everything you love.
The man has been brutally spat out from the darkness that surrounds the shores of our reality. He has come to fight a decisive battle in Night Springs.
Okay, I'm pretty sure the game is a little too loud, so let me go into the audio options and lower the effects volume and the cinematic volume a bit. Okay, and I guess I can put this back at 20. Now, as far as I remember, Alan Wake, the character, was indeed one of the writers for the Night Springs show back in the original game, so it's kind of interesting how he's a writer for the show, but he also stars in the show, and I guess it's going to be determined later on if I'm supposed to take what happens, like if it's actually kind of happening, or if it's only, you know, actually just an episode of the TV series, because it started with Barry, Alan Wake's agent, actually watching that. Well, I guess he wasn't watching, he was asleep at the time, but you know, this seems to actually take place, you know, on the show. So from that I gather it's probably not happening for real, but you can never know with the Alan Wake game, because in the first game it was kind of a plot point that that stories became real, you know. And I think this is actually the cabin from the first game, because it had those distinct two windows, round windows. I'm pretty sure if I jump over here I'm going to die. Oh, I can't actually, because there's an invisible wall. Well, I guess the darkness returns. And you burn away the driver's island. That is the island from the base game, with the cabin in the middle of it. Grab the gun. So it's a 9mm pistol this time, as opposed to a revolver. But the main gameplay loop seems to be more or less the same. Now you shine the light at the enemies and then shoot them once you take away the darkness that covers them. Hopefully there's at least like a greater variety.
The man was a writer. He still practices that art, forging weapons of war out of ideas. But the violent currents that brought him here have scattered the pages he has written.
So I guess once again I'm going to collect pages of my own writing. Indeed. Manuscripts provide insight into the story. They are also used to unlock weapon cases. Alan Wake, the writer.
My name is Alan Wake, and I'm a writer. I didn't become one overnight. Like most writers, I struggled with it. A short story here, an article there. Then I got lucky and spent a year as a staff writer on the Night Springs TV show. It wasn't a great American novel of my fantasies, but it taught me discipline and craft, and the difference between wanting to be a writer and actually writing.
Okay, at the very least I have to admit that the manuscript pages are presented in a bit of a more visually engaging way, but it's not that big of a deal, you know. I'm just grasping at straws here, trying to give this game some praise, but I'm not, I'm not condemning it from the get-go. Maybe it'll do something interesting. Actually, the second DLC...
The motel promised safety. The man senses that the solution to his predicament begins there.
The second DLC for the main game actually did some creative things with the environment.
Somewhere within the Earth, space itself has been pierced, and from dark depths runs a steady flow of monsters. The man recognizes the hand of his evil double in this. He knows he must put an end to this madness.
So there was some improvement to be seen, in my opinion at least. And sometimes running away is the best option. Brightly lit areas provide a safe haven from the enemies. So I guess this is telling me that it's one of the sequences in which the enemies sort of spawn continuously. Okay, that didn't do shit. And I'm supposed to run to the light, because obviously if you enter the light, the enemies disappear, at least for a bit. Yeah, so there was some improvement in my eyes in the second DLC for the base game. So maybe it'll continue in this as well. Night Springs, 15 miles, I assume. The safe haven formed by bright light heals you. Okay, I knew that already. However, I am kind of annoyed by the fact, yeah, they are going to reform if I leave the light, right? I am kind of annoyed by the fact that I wanted to explore the surrounding areas, Arizona Petroleum Incorporated, Night Springs Division. I wanted to explore the surrounding areas, but obviously I don't have...
It's a little sad how many problems you can solve with buckshot.
I don't have unlimited resources, so it's not like I can fight all of them. That's especially because that's quite a large group of enemies, actually. Unlock weapon crates by finding hidden manuscript pages and blast your enemies with serious firepower. Unlock SMG. 3 manuscript pages required. Investigate the garage. And telephone. I don't think they are capable... yeah. They can't enter this area because it's too brightly lit. As you can see, they are sort of repulsed by the light. Okay, at least I can venture, I think, here to the gas station. It's not that far, and there are some goodies out there. Flare gun, which is like your area of effect weapon. I think there's another crossroads, railway crossroads. There's another page up here. Manuscript page. The devil in the details.
To change reality, you nudge it into the right direction. Your version of it is there, waiting. It wants to come true. All you need to do is help it achieve its potential. The devil is in the details. You change the details of the scene to match those on the page. If you get the details right, if you achieve that critical mass, the shift will come, and the rest of your new reality overrides the existing paradigm. The lie, no matter how outrageous, is now the truth.
What? To change reality. That's a bit of a pseudo-philosophical bullshit. Like, I'm not really sure what that's supposed to mean. Because as far as writing goes, you know, as long as it's fiction, it remains fiction no matter what you write. Like, I guess it pertains to the idea from the base game where Alan Wake's writing had literally had the power to reshape reality. But even then, I'm not quite sure what he means about the critical mass of something. Like, it seems to me that he's just being wordy for the sake of it, kind of. Rewriting reality, yeah, right.
The reality we take for granted is softer, more adaptable than we think. Under correct conditions, you can reshape it, turn it into almost anything you want. When it happens, almost nobody notices. It's not that we forget, it's that after the change, there's nothing to remember. Only those who have been directly touched by the powers that can shift reality are aware of the changes. Many are driven mad by it. Others can cope. I'm one of those people, and I know how to wield that power to rewrite reality.
Yeah, I guess this is talking about the base game's premise and the fact that that artists in this world can indeed reshape reality itself with their art, and in fact, it works. I'm pretty sure I'm kind of forbidden to enter this area. Like, it seems like it's not the best idea to do that. And in fact, they can kind of, and I guess that's what the page was referring to. If they do change reality, it's sort of changed. For regular people, it's sort of retroactively changed. For example, In the base game, there was a situation where Thomas Zane, one of the characters, has sort of written himself and the cabin at the center of the lake sort of out of reality, and because of that, he himself became sort of a legend. Like, nobody really knew if that person even existed, and the island on the lake was destroyed by a volcano, even though it was perfectly normal before. Manuscript page, pages and instincts.
I know that when I arrive, the clarity of vision I have now may disappear. I've made my plans. I've prepared for this, but I know the transition from the dark place will be hard on me, and not just physically. It may affect my mind, my memory. These pages should help me remember and focus. That's worked for me before. Even if that fails, I think I will be able to trust my instincts. I'm navigating my own story. I'm hoping I'll know where to go and what to do, even if the details elude me.
So did Alan Wake escape from the dark place in the end? Because the second DLC kind of implied that he was ready to do that, but he didn't quite do it.
Oh, hell. This isn't gonna be good. Is this on? How can you tell? I'm sorry, I'm not very good with gadgets. That's more like it. I'll be right with you. I just gotta do this one thing. I like it quiet. I bet you're wondering why this is happening. Why am I doing all this? Why am I so hell-bent on ruining your life? You're cramping my style. You've got money, fame, everything you could want. But you don't know what to do with it. I do. I'm getting all the things you never had the balls to go for. Having more fun, too. Do you know the real difference between us? I'm not afraid to be the center of attention. This poor slob's just collateral damage, really. I mean, made some information out of him earlier. But this part? This is just for kicks. So quiet.
So I guess this is that evil doppelganger of mine, Mr. Scratch, was it? Who seems to be some kind of a serial killer or something. I guess I'm going to learn more about him as I continue with the game. He seems to be quite crucial to the story of it. I'm kind of intimidated by the lack of boundaries in the game's world, because it sort of makes it difficult for me to decide which way to go and what part of it have I already explored. Obviously, I would prefer to explore it all, but that might not be realistic. Explosives? No explosives here. But I guess there are no enemies suddenly, so I will explore this diner or something as well before continuing with the main objective of investigating the garage. There are clearly some items here. Okay, can't carry more pistol ammo, so it is a little worthless for me to come here because I have full ammunition, and after I lose some of it I will presumably need to return to pick it up, which makes this trip a little pointless. Well, the door is locked, so I guess it's finally time to go and check the garage at the motel, and I guess the motel itself in general. I was at this little building already. Desert Shore Motel vacancy. Switch to submachine gun. Okay, I will.
I guess it's about time I went full auto.
Just because I think it's more exciting. At least it's a little bit of a change compared to the pistol. And I'll just check if any of the doors are open. Oh, there's like a bajillion supplies. Okay, I doubt I can get into any of those. I guess the game expects me to continue with the main quest, but let's listen to the radio first.
Well, here you are, about to enjoy another cool Arizona night with me, Eddie Rodman, the host with the boast. Hey, any of you guys remember Old Gods of Asgard? Man, I actually saw them twice back in the 70s. I was just a kid then, but my dad worked at this club, and he'd sneak me in to see bands all the time. You know how it is. Talk about an education. Anyway, great band, couple of great albums, solid fan base, and then they kind of dropped off the face of the earth. Well, now, almost 4 decades later, they're making a comeback. And let me tell you, these boys have seen a lot of road. There's some serious rock and roll veterans, because they weren't too young even back in the day. Well, now I've got Odin and Tor Anderson, 2 of the original Old Gods, in the studio with me, along with their manager, Barry Wheeler. Nice to have you guys here.
Oh, hey, great to be here, Eddie.
Yeah, hey. Hello! Now, boys, let me just come out and say this, all right? Spring chickens, you ain't. I mean, you guys, you make the Stones look young.
You're only as old as you feel.
Who you calling old? Now, your last album was 1978, In the Valley of My Shadow. And then you stopped playing altogether after that. Why? And what made you do a comeback after all this time?
Well, it was a sad thing. See, the original bass player for Old Gods, Fat Bob Balder, passed away in...
Leukemia!
Bob had leukemia, poor bastard.
Yeah, after that, we didn't feel like playing no more.
Long story short, I ran into these guys up in Washington, and it was obvious to me that they still got it. So I figured, hey, let's make some music, right? And they went for it.
Now, Barry, you were a literary agent before this, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and you were very successful. You represented Alan Wake, I believe, who disappeared under mysterious...
Yeah, that's... Hey, I just want to talk about Old Gods tonight. Is that cool? Can we do that?
Oh, yeah, sure. Listen, why don't we take a little break, and then later on in the program, we'll hear the new Old Gods single. Stay tuned, folks.
Well, at least Barry landed on his feet.
Okay, so that's a little convoluted, because it seems this can't be entirely fiction. It, as in just a TV show, because obviously it references events from the base game and actual characters from the base game as well. But it's weird how Barry Wheeler, Alan's agent, says that Alan disappeared, which I guess is consistent with the ending of the first game. But then again, this episode of the TV show, Night Springs, is supposedly written by Alan Wake himself, and Alan Wake stars in it. Like, I'm Alan Wake. So how does it work? How is it possible? So my current working theory is that it's not a TV show at all. It's just an extension of the dark base, and this is basically Alan Wake's imagination.
Hey, it's you. There. You remember me, right? Emma? Emma Sloan?
I think you might have something that belongs to me.
Really?
A typewritten page?
Oh, yeah, that's weird. I did find a page like that. I don't even know where it came from. It was all this weird stuff about the oil derrick and a satellite.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for.
Oh, I don't know how you knew I had it, but I guess it's yours. Listen, what's this all about? There are these really creepy guys hanging around the oil derricks. There's something really weird about them.
They're dangerous. I'm gonna deal with them. Try to stay out of their sight, okay? And stay in the light. They hate the light.
Okay, I have another page. New reality, the satellite.
At the oil derrick, the wheel had been jammed in place and turned until the oil gurgled and flowed thick and flammable. The warning lights were blinking in a fast rhythm, bright and steady, powered by the battery. The Kasabian CD was playing in the boombox, all distorted guitars and intense beat. High above, some piece of orbital junk or another collided with the satellite, knocking it radically off course. Trailing debris, it screamed down from the skies at an impossibly steep angle. All that high-tech engineering reduced to nothing more than a bullet that would destroy whatever it hit.
Okay, I'm not quite sure what this is about, but I guess I'm going to learn soon enough. However, my current working theory is switch the submachine gun to a nail gun. I guess I'll give the submachine gun a try before doing that. My current working theory is that this is basically Alan Wake's imagination, and he combines some events from his life. Like, he was a writer for the Night Springs for a time, and obviously he knows Barry Wheeler, his agent, so all of the events sort of amalgamate together into this weird shared reality, which is not actually real. We haven't met before. Okay, let's try it. Wasn't expecting dialogue, like an actual dialogue that I can choose, but I guess I don't really have an option. It's just an option of whether to say this or nothing.
Just to be clear, you should know that we haven't actually met before.
Sure we have, Mr. Wake. Remember you stayed at the motel here.
No, the guy you're talking about just looks like me, even if he uses my name. He's behind all this trouble.
Oh, I thought, now that you mention it, I guess your aura looks a lot nicer than his, actually. I'm very sensitive to things like that.
There's a bunch of stuff I need to find.
The things mentioned on that page? Well, there's a lot of old crap lying around this place.
Great, thanks.
I think you should be able to find everything, except the satellite, obviously. Are you gonna tell me what this is?
I don't think that'd go over too well.
Why don't you let me be the judge of that?
Fine. The page is a formula for rewriting reality. Either I use it to close a strange portal to a place that isn't in our world, or shadowy serial killer monster things keep pouring out of there.
Yeah, you were right the first time.
You can think what you want about me, but there's still bad guys around. Be careful.
Well, you might be nuts, but I've seen the way they move, the way they look. I'll buy that.
They're called Taken. They aren't really human. Not anymore.
And they're climbing out of the oil well? What, do they have secret headquarters down there, or...?
No, that's just where the point of connection is. It's a hole that leads to... well, it's a really nasty place. That's why I need to close it.
And the guy who looks like you opened it, because he was hanging around the oil field before.
He gets around, unfortunately. Thanks for helping me.
Oh, I wish I thought you were just a nutcase.
Actually, I kind of expected you to.
Me too. But I feel like this is how it's supposed to go. Isn't that weird?
Not really. I get that a lot in my line of work.
What do you do anyway?
I'm a writer.
Obviously.
What was that you said about my aura?
Oh, I'm very spiritual, you know. I can see auras, but I only use it for healing and helping people. I'm like a wise woman, you know? I give people insight and advice.
Look, Just because I say crazy things doesn't mean I believe everything.
Don't be like that. Maybe you should take a few crystals with you if you're going out there. It might be dangerous. They soothe your energies and focus your mind. It's fantastic.
And they help me take out the bad guys?
Oh, well, no, not as such.
Yeah, okay. I think I'm...
Or I have some wonderfully potent herbal detox suppositories.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, so apparently Mr. Scratch, Alan Wake's...
The champion of light recognizes the page he got from the woman. It is a weapon of his own design, custom engineered to destroy the dark portal. If he recreates the conditions of the page, a great power will be unleashed.
Alan Wake's doppelganger, Mr. Scratch, is going around pretending to be Alan Wake. The minimap on the top left corner of the screen shows your current objectives. Safe havens are also shown. Blinking question marks indicate hidden manuscript page nearby. There is actually one over here, apparently. Ah, inside. But I can't get in there yet, so I presume that's going to be available later. But what I don't quite understand is where Mr. Scratch came from in the first place? Because as far as I know, when Thomas Zane disappeared into the dark place, he wasn't like there wasn't like a copy of Thomas Zane going around in the outside world. He just disappeared, and everyone thought he was just like a myth or like a legend. So where did Mr. Scratch come from? Essentially, what I'm asking is, why there are two Alan Wakes?
Wait! Whoa!
Kind of. Okay, there's a valve.
That's one thing down.
Oh, it is actually the thing. Well, it's good to have it then. I was kind of randomly going in that direction because I thought the arrow was further away, this way. Checkpoint reached, apparently.
The enemy tears itself in two to avoid the hated light. It becomes weaker, but more numerous. Such is the arithmetic of horror.
Okay, that's at least a bit of a new mechanic concerning the enemies, but it isn't.
That was just messed up.
But it isn't like particularly innovative or fascinating. The fact that they.
That's two. Just one more to go. Something tells me I'm really gonna need the extra firepower.
The fact that they tear themselves in two. Still, it's good that they at least gave me something new, even if it's not that fascinating. Okay, some train wagons, which I don't see anything glowing, so I don't think there are any pages nearby. And I guess I should be looking at the minimap because it's going to tell me if there are pages nearby. And there's some ammunition underneath the bridge. Ah, 10 manuscript pages required, so I don't have enough. There's a safe place though. And I guess it's also a decent... Oh, I can't carry any more flares. So that's a significantly lower number than in Alan Wake, the base game, because then I could carry literally 20 of the flares. Oh, I guess the safe space only works once, in which case I kind of wasted it. Oh well. In any case, I feel like this first episode was long enough, so I'm going to pause here. That's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!